Welcome, Luis Baez.
Excellently said.
Or as you said, you go by LB.
Yeah, LB.
And we have the honor, he flew in from Nicaragua last night. And I could be cheesy and say, are your arms tired?
They're not, but I do come from the source. And it's always fun to come into the US. And I was telling you, it was an eventful flight. My arms aren't tired, my legs are from the mile I had to run
from the running
to get to the
Good. So we have your metabolism going, so we can taste some rum. So today we're talking about rum. Hey guys, I'm Sly, and welcome to another episode of Shot Ones. We get to talk about great spirits and some innovative flavors that maybe we've never tasted before. We have some different flavored foods. 2 different drinks. We have Flor de Caña 12 years straight.
Fantastic.
And then I also made a daiquiri.
Oh, I'm a daiquiri guy, so this is great.
So I
fantastic.
did mine with agave nectar. So you get to choose first, and if it's
bad,
I won't blame you. I won't hate you.
Well, I'd like to know, did you curate this like smorgasbord of
No, so it's all a
flavors
surprise for me.
Okay.
So that way I don't even know
So
what
you
the
don't
flavors
know.
are going to be.
Amazing.
I will say that looks like something from Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
I will say that does look a little bit like that. So maybe
I can identify what those are. So I won't start there. Let's go safe. Let's go with the chip. How
With the
about
chip?
that?
Okay.
Yeah. You want to do that?
Yeah.
Wanna
Okay.
take that.
I could put this on my shoulder and say I have a chip on my shoulder.
Exactly.
But you know. Okay, so let's
We're not that kind of people.
Okay.
No.
It tastes like barbecue.
Perfect. Yeah, it's
right?
barbecue.
Is it
We
barbecue?
are in Texas.
Oh, it's chili.
Okay, chili. Okay. So,
That's
you know
very
what?
easy.
I think I'm going to do Flor de Caña 12 here and take a little sip.
I love the Flor de Caña 12 just because of how versatile it is. You know, like when I look at the whole portfolio, I think of the 12, the 18, the 25. I'm talking about the higher marks. And the 12 is the one that can live anywhere.
Yeah.
It can come into this daiquiri, you can have it neat, you can have it on ice. I love that versatility of it. And it's my little warhorse when I'm out in the market.
What's good about it is it's smooth enough to just taste neat. Like it complemented the chili flavor perfectly. But yet it's bold enough to stand up in a drink, you know, too. So out of all the marks, I will say I love how the 12-year-old stands up in just rum cocktails.
Yeah.
Flor de Caña is a family business. It's been around for
135 next year.
Okay.
So we have a milestone, we have a birthday coming up. It's gonna be a great year for us. We started in 1890, so you can imagine we've been around for a while. We kind of know what we're doing now with the rum. We figured it out.
You figured it out after
Finally.
135 years,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So how did your journey start with Flor de Caña?
I actually started doing something like this. I actually started on TV. So I had a TV show back home and a radio show, and it was like the Nicaraguan version of The Tonight Show.
Okay.
And Flor de Caña was my sponsor. So they did that for 10 years. They were my sponsors. Then, you know, I said TV is done. There's some stuff going on in the country. And I said, I'm leaving TV. I'm going, you know, like a civilian again. And they said, well, you kind of know our story. You've been talking about it this whole time and you speak English. You want to come be like our US global ambassador and, you know, talk to these American consumers about rum? And I said, why, yes, I will. And I would. And it's been 6 years now doing that. And it's been fantastic.
So I'm in front of celebrity status. Wait, I didn't know that. So celebrity status here.
Wow.
Okay, let's do this one.
Perfect.
It's like it looks like a chip, and let's just stick with the chip, right? Yeah. Okay. What is that? Curry?
I smoke cigars, so like my palate, other than for the rum, is kind of shot. So
Hey, and cigars and rum go
you guys
perfectly together, right?
you guys might have a hard time, like really hitting me with something.
I think that
dangerous.
one, and we might have to
You
do
think
that
that
one
one too?
just for like pow.
For some reason, I feel like that one's gonna be sweet. I have no idea what this is. This seemed like a Cheeto.
Is it like a curry Cheeto? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see.
That's not bad.
I'm actually gonna try the daiquiri with this. Again, a good year-round cocktail, right?
Cheers.
Good cheers.
I love
And
a
let's
daiquiri.
see now, since that's your drink. Let's see how I did with this one. But you really get the notes from the rum. So
That's beautiful.
what flavor notes would you say best describe Flor de Caña 12?
Oh man, with Flor de Caña, you're definitely gonna get some nuttiness. You're definitely gonna get the woodiness of it, and that's the thing. Like Flor de Caña and all of our products, they've been aged for the amount of time that you see on the label. So you see a 12 years old rum, that was 12 years in an ex-bourbon barrel.
Okay.
So you're gonna pick up on that wood absolutely. But the great thing about it is it's never overpowering. It's never like, you know how sometimes you find it like it's too oaky and there's too much flavor and it feels terrible. No, the flavor is always going to be great. I find a lot of vanilla in it as well. I love the nose of the 12 and the 18 because of that vanilla pop that I get all the time.
You do get great vanilla on
and
those.
I do love it. You know, we do one thing and we talk about Flor de Caña and how it has no sugar. And, you know, we do a very experiential, like a physical test of it, right? So I'll tell you to put a couple of drops of rum. Actually, go ahead and try it. Yeah. Put a couple of drops of rum at the palm of your hands. And then rub your hands. Yeah. And then rub your hands together. The good thing is we have plenty of rum to go.
We do have plenty of rum, so we can refill.
Yeah. So if this had any sugar, if this had any additives in it, what would you feel in your hands?
Probably like a cloying stickiness.
Do you have any residue, any sticky sensation in the palm of your hands?
No, in fact, it's like extra clean.
Exactly. And then you feel that pop of the vanilla and the aromas really hit you. Sometimes I run out of cologne. I just use a little bit behind the ears.
It's just a little bit of rum. Just, you know,
never when I'm driving though, because that could be complicated. But it is great. It does have a great nose. One thing I love about Flor de Caña, across our portfolio, it's super smooth, right? It is. But you take a sip and you get 2 seconds into it, that I call it the second button effect. Right here in the middle of your chest starts getting a little warm. You're like, oh, okay. It's nice and smooth, but it still has some boldness. It still has some flavor.
It's a slow growing
Exactly.
warmth.
And it has that, you know, prolonged, like long finish that you like in a drink like this. So we're talking about cigars. If you're smoking a cigar, you don't want a rum that's gonna evaporate, that the flavor is gonna be gone in a second.
It's sharp, it hits you fast, and it goes away just as fast.
Which is fine.
Which is fine, right? It's distiller's intent.
Exactly.
Some people want their spirit to be that way, but this is a very slow evolving warmth that lingers.
Exactly. Yeah. That is a perfect description of what it is. But I do love how that happens with the rum, and it doesn't disappear. It kind of lingers with you, like you said. And the last thing you want when you're having a drink is for it to at least for us who I've been groomed in Nicaragua since I was born. So my first drink was a Flor de Caña drink. So this is the type of rum that I like to drink. Like I said, nothing wrong with the other ones. We have a saying in Spanish is para gustos, sabores. For every type of preference, there's a flavor, right? And this is not different. But if you're looking for a lot of flavor, naturally aged, no additives, this is the rum for you.
What's funny is that was one of the questions I had for you was, do you remember the first time you tasted rum?
I did.
And what was the impression it left on you?
In Nicaragua, the drinking age is 18, not 21.
Okay.
So we get started a little bit younger. And I'm going to say I waited until the day I turned 18 to try it for the very first time. I was, very compliant with the law. And I tried Flor de Caña. I mean,
that was literally the first rum.
In Nicaragua, there's only one rum, which is Flor de Caña. And it's what you see everywhere. I can't explain to you until you've actually been there how much of a connection there is between the country and our brand. It's the number one. It's the number one exported brand in the country, and people like to drink rum because we have great rum at a great price that's done locally, right? So I do remember trying it. It wasn't the 12 year, that was 1998, and it was probably the Gran Reserva, the 7. Okay. And I remember, going to the very first party with a couple of friends of ours where we had a bottle that we purchased. We didn't take from anyone's parents' cabinet.
And filled with tea.
Yes. And we had it for the very first time. And I remember just being like, okay, I want to put some Coke in it. And we drank rum and Coke, which today is sacrilege. I would never put Coke on my rum anymore. But that's
cocktail history, right? Rum and Coke, right?
Yeah.
It's just rum and Coke. Add a lime, and what do you have?
Excuse me?
Add a squeeze of lime, and what cocktail do you have?
This is the Cuba Libre.
It's like
we're Nica Libre. We call it in Nicaragua, Nica Libre. But yeah, I mean, it's fine if you like it. But for me, Coke is the only one thing that is gonna make the flavors of the rum kind of go away, right? And so then you don't taste it,
right?
So, yeah.
But you know what we can taste?
Another.
Okay, so now it's your choice again. I don't know that.
I want the marshmallow looking thing.
Let's go for the marshmallow looking one. Let's see.
I see her smiling. I'm very worried.
So it's probably the knife flavor, right?
It reminds you of like Harry Potter and that, that thing where you get the vomit flavor thing. Yeah, it's not vomit flavor, guys.
Oh, thank God that's probably not on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking like Ghostbusters, with the big marshmallow man, but that was actually really good. I think, you know what, I'm gonna do it.
That's delicious.
Neat
And
to
a little
go with
vanilla
that
in there.
marshmallow vanilla, which might just complement the.
I might just throw the another. Do you have another one of those? I'll just throw it in here.
A good little garnish, right? Like make it fun.
I was actually at a restaurant in Houston a couple months ago, and the bar manager, what he did is he took some vanilla beans and infused the rum. Just put 3 vanilla beans in there, let it sit for a couple of days, and took them out, and had a vanilla infused rum that he serves with his old fashions. Oh my God!
I was about to say too, with it being aged in ex-bourbon barrels, this would also, your classic, rum cocktails as well as your innovative and new, different flavor combinations 100%. In the mixology world, but. It would definitely stand up to an old fashioned and replace a bourbon or a whiskey and make a. In fact, one concept, it was an Asian concept. We did a sake simple syrup because we always want to make sure that the brand has application, and so a lot of people are like, does rum fit white tablecloth, those middle tier, casual concepts, Asian, Italian, absolutely. You just have to pull in the flavor profiles of that specific account.
Exactly.
So instead of just regular simple syrup, hey, let's just do a sake simple syrup to make it a little bit more of an Asian flair. And it was like...
That sounds amazing. We used to be the sponsors for Sustainable Restaurant Award with 50 Best Restaurants. And I remember Asia's 50 Best back in 2021, this one restaurant in Singapore won, and they had a plate where they come and they serve a soup type thing, and then they have the Flor de Caña warm and they pour it on top. That's like the end part of the soup, and they serve it like that. This is a Michelin star restaurant, and I was amazed by the fact that they could do this, and they won our award, and they sent us that video, and I was like, oh my God, it really is that versatility. You can add it to anything.
I'm going to try that. I never thought about doing it with soup. Yeah. And I'm Greek, so it wouldn't go with our lemon soup. But you know what? It might be good in a lentil soup. Like I'm gonna have to play around with it.
If you do sausage for the lentil soup, you could like pre-cook the sausage in a little bit of a rum with water mixture.
I never thought about its application in food. To actually. So I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
Okay. So should we try another one? You know what?
Let's go for something that looks dangerous.
Should we go for the Freddy Krueger looking one?
Let's do it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm just gonna put it up because it literally. When I say Freddy Krueger, it looks like the skin of Freddy Krueger.
This now worries me because of texture, not because of look.
Okay, so I always say nose confirms palate, but what's dangerous about this is it doesn't have a scent.
Like big cheese?
Oh God. I'm gonna have to hold my nose on this one and drink like
we lost
You know what? It had a little bit of a sausage taste.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it did.
Not okay. Did I say sausage or sausages? Sausages is the dog one, and sausage. I think it's a combination of both because that one I had to hold my breath.
Yeah.
So that actually did taste like Freddy Krueger skin.
Yeah.
Like that. But
pretty
sausage.
Tasty.
Like
that was tasty.
Do you think?
Yeah, I thought that was tasty.
I'm glad you think so. Oh boy, I'm glad you think so. So you said
I actually
a word.
picked all of these with your production team, so I'm very sorry. This is a joke.
So you said a word, sustainability. I know Flor de Caña and the whole distillery in the family is huge on sustainability. Yes. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I know we do so much with the brand, and we've done using watermelon, taking the rind and turning it into simple syrup. Explain the importance of that term with your brand.
I'll tell you. I'm into communications. I feel like words are my currency in that sense, right? And so I always talk to the team about how sustainability is one of those words that's really like hard to digest. It's very cold. You don't really know what you're saying. It's a word everyone throws around, but what are you saying?
Right.
Sustainability, right? And so we kind of break it down to kind of describe it a little bit better. We understand sustainability in 3 pillars, right? So it's the impact you have on the environment, obviously, but also the impact you have on society or the community and the impact you have on your collaborators. So if you look at it in those 3 things, then it becomes a little bit easier to understand. So how do we impact the environment? Well, we plant 50,000 trees every year since 2007. Last year, we reached our 1 million tree planted. It was a big milestone for us.
Yes, that's huge.
And it was a great moment. We partnered with the Latin pop star called Sebastian Yatra, and he was our ambassador for this, and we shared the store. We had concerts in Colombia and Mexico and all over the world, in Spain, and it was fantastic. So that's one way. We also distill with 100% renewable energy. So how do you make rum? You take sugarcane. We have 30,000 acres of sugarcane. This is a single estate, a family-owned business. 30,000 acres of sugarcane. You cut that down, you put it in a crusher, you get all the juice out, and the juice is going to be separated. You have sugar, and then the molasses. We do have a sugar mill, so we produce sugar for Nicaragua and some of Central America.
So you repurpose, yeah.
Zero waste mentality. Everything is
fantastic.
reused. So you have the sugar mill, and then you have the molasses. The molasses is then fermented, distilled, and then turns into rum.
Which gives a whole different flavor profile when you use the molasses versus the pure cane sugar that's just sent straight to distillation. Very vegetal, very earthy, grassy, aside from where we get the notes of caramel and vanilla and what have you.
So one is what they call rum agricole, and this is more Spanish style rum, which is the one we use, okay? And so we go through that five column distillation. We get alcohol of maximum purity, then it goes into aging. It ages naturally for as long as the label says. In all of this process, there was one thing that was left over. When you squeeze, have you ever had sugarcane? Have you ever eaten sugarcane?
No, I've never been to a sugarcane field.
Okay. So imagine a long rod like this. You can cut it up in pieces and you chew on it and you get all the juice out, but then you're left with the fiber of it, right? Like the pulp, right? And so imagine having 30,000 acres worth of sugarcane pulp at the end of the production every 6 months. And so what we started doing about 18, 19 years ago is using that to create renewable energy. So now we distill with 100% renewable energy. For the last 18 years, our factory runs on 100% renewable energy. So that's another way that you protect the environment. On top of that, all sorts of repurposing and recycling efforts to minimize any use of water that we have, to repurpose the water once we use it in all of these processes. Through those, we got fair trade certified, and then Carbon Trust came in and they certified us as carbon neutral, meaning that we do have some output, but we compensate it with our sustainable practices. So that's the environment. Then how do we reach the community? Well, we have and we sponsor just about every initiative that you can possibly imagine. The biggest one being Afrokem, which is a burned children's unit in Nicaragua that serves kids from all over the country. Over 300,000 medical procedures in the last 30 years. And we are the #1 donor for that. And then how do we impact our collaborators? We are the only business in Nicaragua that has a company school and a company hospital to make sure that our workers are taken care of. So when you think about sustainability in terms of environment, community, and collaborators, we cover all bases. The only spirit in the world that's fair trade certified and carbon neutral certified.
Which is huge. Like when we're trying to say, a message we talk all the time with other influencers and other spirits, and it has history, it has culture, it relates back to the people. And when you take a look at tequila, it's the same thing. You see generations of people working on the same distillery, where some, work in the sugarcane and take the stalks because the portion of it remains in the ground in order for it to regrow. But it has history, it has culture, and that's authenticity, and that's what the consumers are looking for. They want that.
Our master distiller went to the company school because he's third generation worker. His family is a third generation working in the company. He went to the school, he then graduated, went to college, came back, started working at the company, and is now the master distiller for the past 30 years, right? And now his son is the fourth generation working in the family. So it shows you the how people enjoy working with us, where their families come back and stay with us, generationally. It's pretty awesome.
And I think you just laid it out with how you give back to the culture, to the society, to the environment, to the employees, everything. That's exactly what sets it apart from other rums. People want that connection, they want that story.
2 days ago, we were having this event in one of the malls where we made a Christmas tree out of rum barrels. And so we put it like in the center square of the mall. It was really cool. We had, things for the whole family to come by. And one of the things that I was saying when I was doing the welcoming words before we lit the tree was Flor de Caña is around for all the good moments in this country, right? As a Nicaraguan, the pride that you feel working for a company like this is huge. huge. I mean, I could be doing other things, but just the chance to say you work with Flor de Caña and you're able to share the best product that your country has with the rest of the world means something. You know?
My God, I wrote that down too.
Yeah.
You know, okay, so I'm gonna go let's go with this one.
Let's go.
You know what? This looks a little spiked. Let's do the small. Like sometimes small things pack a punch. Let's go for it, right? It looks like actually a little tooth, like, oh, see.
It's like candy corn, but made out of chili.
That was pretty good. So I made a safe choice. You know what? Let's go in for the other one. Like while we have it, let's see. Because one might be spicier than the other.
That had a little.
Is it
I
growing?
think that was spicier than the Freddy Krueger.
Actually, that's pretty good. A little growing heat.
I will say, I have hot sauce with my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So you're not scaring me.
Tabasco, I put Tabasco on everything, and in fact, I probably offend so many chefs because I put it on before I even taste it. Because if I don't, you know,
it's like it needs it. You know, naturally needs it. Yeah.
When we talk about what sets it apart from, you know, from the others, like I said, it just has a great story.
And that's the thing. When you've been around for 135 years, you have a story to tell.
Well, you look great for it.
You know,
you barely even have wrinkles.
Dorian Gray painting is sitting somewhere, you know, in one of the aging rooms, and that ages and I don't. I'm kidding. I'm super bald. You know, it's terrible.
Oh my gosh. I wrote down what you just said. It's around for all the good moments of the country.
Oh yeah.
Of the country, of just with your friends, with family, and what have you. So it's like, you know, when you go on a macro level and then you boil it all the way down to friends and family on a day-to-day, you know, basis. We're gonna end with a cheers to that one at the end of this.
It's funny. A couple of years ago, they asked me to go receive a recognition in Nicaragua, and I was talking to. It was a bunch of businessmen in the country. This big event. When I stood up, I didn't really know what I was gonna say because sometimes it's hard to kind of gauge like who you're gonna be talking to and what you should say to these people. And I said, you know when I knew Flor de Caña was gonna make it, when you go to the airport and you see every single Nicaraguan person who leaves the country and every single tourist who leaves the country leaving with a bag of Flor de Caña that they buy at the duty free because they want to take it back home. Now, the U.S. commercial team is like, it's available in the States, don't buy it at the airport. And true, but it's the idea of saying, I want to take this back because it represents the country that I was just in.
I just visited and I want to take it home with me.
And it shows you the connection between the brand and the country.
Your rum. What's another spirit that you enjoy, like going out? Is it wine? Is it like vodka? Is it like what's your other vice?
My wife really likes wine, so that makes me really like wine. And so sometimes, you know, it's the middle of the week. You're gonna watch a movie. You know, you're gonna have a little wine with her. So that's what I like. I like a good cab. Yeah. You know, some strong.
Bold.
I cook a lot. I like to do different recipes, but I do a lot of meat.
Meat
guy, yeah.
Meat caveman.
Exactly. As red as you can, and so obviously a good cab with some meat goes great. Just as a good, you know, old fashioned is gonna go great with it, but you don't always want to go through the process of making these things.
Right.
And if my wife already drinking that, well, I enjoy a little wino from time to time.
Yeah. What's the biggest life lesson rum has taught you over the years?
It's gonna sound like a company line. It's not, I promise you, but it is about sustainability. When I started working in this company, I could care less, and I'm sorry, but I could care less about all that stuff. Recycling and all that stuff is not a big deal in Nicaragua. It's not like here in the US where you have different bins and all these things. It doesn't happen back home, right? And so once you get in there, I even remember like rolling my eyes, like, oh my God, we're talking about sustainability again. And then about a year goes by and you start seeing all these things and you start making changes at home. And you start thinking, how can I do like a little compost for the garden? And how can I grow my own garnishes? And so I want to have some of these things. And then you start thinking, well, what's the problem? I'm just going to dive in. I'm already talking about this.
Because most people think, what's one person's impact? But if a million people thought that way, then you'd have
that's the impact.
A million times more impact. Because most people say, what difference can one person make?
Exactly. And so just the life changes that I've had around that, you know, I think have had a really positive impact on me. And now it's something that I can, you know, like raise my kids with that. My parents didn't raise me thinking about recycling and sustainability, but I am now raising my kids with that in mind. And so that generation is going to make a bigger splash or a bigger difference than I did. And it's kind of like how the Sustainable Cocktail Challenge was even like created. It was the idea that, okay, so the company is doing all of these great things already in terms of sustainability. We have all of these awards. We're definitely industry leaders in this. How can we give it a multiplier effect? And so why don't we motivate the bartender community to come into the Sustainable Cocktail Challenge and create sustainable cocktails around the idea of zero waste, of repurposing and all these things. And then guess what? If they create nice tasting drinks, then their customers get to try these cocktails, and then you get the customers thinking about sustainability.
You pass it on.
And you pass it on, and then it becomes a multiplier effect, and that's how it's created. It is fantastic. It really is. And when you talk to people who are really into it, and the bartenders that participate every single year in the competition,
it's because they believe in it.
Passion.
And like I said, it's passion, and passion is contagious.
And passion you can't teach. You either have it or you don't have it.
That's not contagious. But you know what? Let's do this one. Let's see if it's contagious. But
this looks like dog food. Or like cat food, like
it might be the tongue of Freddy Krueger. When you talk about the sustainable bartender competition, what's the most creative idea? Do you remember what the most creative idea that a bartender's brought to the table regarding sustainability or repurposing? We've heard of repurposing coffee grinds and different things. What's the most?
I'll tell you, this is probably not the most creative. I've been doing it for about 5 years with the sustainable cocktail. Yeah.
Maybe a little sweet from the daiquiri on that one. In fact, I'm salivating.
Yeah, exactly. It was like I didn't want to just drool all over myself. It wasn't dog food, but I was going to look like a dog.
I mean, you do look that handsome for me to drool, but I will say it is from that.
Too kind. So it probably won't be the most creative, but it was the most interesting to me, at least. And the context to this is, in Nicaragua, there's not a huge cocktail culture. You drink it with ice, with water, or with club soda.
That's it.
It's just starting. So I remember the first time that I was trying a cocktail that had like a fat wash thing.
Okay.
It was an Asian cocktail, and they were repurposing the trimmings of Wagyu that they use in the restaurant to infuse some rum with the fattiness and the texture of the Wagyu into the rum, and then they created a cocktail around that. And I remember thinking, that's gonna be terrible. And then I tried it, and it was delicious. And you did feel a little bit of that meatiness.
The meatiness.
But it had an interesting texture to it, and an interesting kind of like flavor right at the back end of it. And I was like, that's very interesting. I would have never thought to use trimmings of Wagyu beef, throw it in rum, let it infuse.
Just toss to the side. Instead, it's like, let's infuse, let's put it in the freezer, let's get the fat, take it out, but it gets the flavor of the fat. But most people, like with prime rib, I mean, to some people, that's the most delicious part. That's where the flavor is in the fat,
Of course.
So that's interesting.
That's at least the one that sticks with my mind the most. I've seen some great cocktails. I mean, we've had people bring in, I remember last year's competition, he brought in like the compost that he's made from the shavings of the rest of the cocktail with it, and he presented it to the judges, and that was a big hit. It came in second or third place.
Okay.
And that was great because he showed the whole process of it. It's not just me talking about it here.
It's visually.
Yeah.
And that's perception is reality too. So when you visually see it, I mean, perception is reality.
Yeah. Was it Agassi? Images, everything.
Okay,
right, something like that.
So who's the target demographic for Flor de Caña 12? And even the others, but this Flor de Caña as a whole and its entity, as a brand. Who do you think? Is it the younger generation? Is it the older generation? Is it the sweet spot generation over in the middle? Who's the target demographic?
If we look from a marketing perspective, it's probably somewhere in between like the 25 to 45 category. It's young adults who now have a little bit more disposable income. They're coming into it that they like to go out and have cocktails, or they're being a little older and they're buying the better stuff, the higher marks, and taking it home. So that's that sweet spot. If you ask me who I think is the perfect consumer for Flor de Caña, is anyone who likes to have a good time, because rum is fun. Rum is not a drink to have. Not that you can't.
Rum is fun.
But it's not a drink to have by yourself in a boring situation.
Right.
I mean, you can have one. But if you're drinking rum, it's because you want to have a good time. You're having a party, you're sharing with a lot of friends. It's gonna get fun. We're gonna get into a little bit of dancing. It's gonna get fun. It has that Latino spirit into it, right? No pun intended, or actually it was kind of intended. But yes, it does have. It is that Latino spirit in there that makes you want to just have a good time. And then it's people who want to have or who appreciate the good things in life. Rum, just like anything else in the world, has different categories, different price points, different things. Some are going to be better than others. I think rum has a PR problem because most people, at least when I've done a lot of these master classes in the field, most of these people probably had a bad experience with rum early on in their lives, in their college lives, got drunk. They were not having very good rum. They were having it with a ton of sugar and the most sugary drinks that you could possibly
caramel color additive, where it gets its color all from.
Then they were waking up the next day and feeling like crap because they drank it the wrong way and drank the wrong one. And so then when they realize that there is good stuff out there, that moment is just so beautiful.
The aha moment.
Oh my gosh. I remember being at a whiskey event in Vegas that I go to every year. And I remember I'm here sitting, we're the only rum there, and we're sitting in between, whiskeys and bourbons that are $5,000, $10,000 for like the expensive bottles that they might have. And people keep coming to our booth and trying it. One, because it's like a change of pace from other stuff that they're drinking, and because they can't believe it's a rum. They cannot believe it. There's like, oh, is it cognac? Is this? Well, when you age stuff properly, and when you put in as much love as we do in Nicaragua to create Flor de Caña, man, it transcends. When I always say, I can talk about the rum as much as I want and for as long as you want me to, but until you try it, that's the trial by fire. That's when you're gonna be like, yes, that's good.
And then once you try it, then you make the last statement.
Exactly.
On what it means, what you want it to be, what it means to you, or.
That's why, for me, that liquid to lips is so important.
Yeah.
Every single time they're like, oh my God, that's great.
Yep.
That is not what I expected. That is not what I expected out of a rum.
Liquid to lips is so important. If I were given a blind taste, I would probably choose Flor de Caña.
I would bet my house on it. Is this the one that you're talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. Should we try it? I mean, you know what? I'll take a bite because I say this and I've said it before. What do you think it is? People say it's not what's on the outside, what's on the inside. It looks ugly. So I'm not going to prejudge. I'm not going to be that person.
It looks like a pork rind.
I'm not going to bully the ugly looking food. Oh, it's crunchy.
That did not go well. It's like,
I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
I really
no napkins for you to spit into.
No, I was looking around for stuff, and there's nothing I can do with this, and I don't.
It was pretty hideous, I will say. That is not good.
I swallowed it whole. I took one crunch, and
just something triggered that you didn't want to.
You know what?
Where did it take you, Sly?
It took me to the bottom of the Hudson River, where the fish lie.
It does have a fishiness to it. I don't know what's going on there. They're gonna be like, yes, this is.
I was not expecting that with the crunch.
Fish scales.
I don't think I've ever tasted that. I think that's the first time I tasted that.
Thank you. I want to thank you for that.
That gives, I'd say, what's the most, memorable moment you've had while sharing Flor de Caña? I'm gonna have to say
that. Yeah.
Before we toast, what's one thing you would want everyone to know about Flor de Caña?
I'd say that it is rum of the highest quality. That you are going to enjoy it in any setting that you can possibly imagine, that it is so versatile that you can recreate any classic cocktail that you can imagine and add Flor de Caña to it, and it's going to be better. Yes, better. Try the espresso martini with this and with our espresso.
You know what? You're right.
Absolutely amazing.
Yep.
And that we are a brand with purpose. We do things right. We are family owned for a reason. We like to keep control of the whole process so that we know that the quality of the stuff we put out is going to be the same one year in, year out. We've done that for 135 years. And the testament to how great the product is in the taste. So taste it.
Thank you so much for joining us. Like I said,
My
you have
pleasure.
been so awesome, so informative. Your passion it filled the room.
Thank you.
And a lot of people, you have to believe in it to actually. You hope people believe in it, but for so many people, it's just a job, right?
Yeah.
But for you, it's your life, it's your
personal.
lifestyle, it's personal. It's all the things. So again, I want to end with a toast. With the words that I wrote down because they were so impactful for me. It's a rum, it's a spirit. Flor de Caña is around for all the good moments of the country with friends and family. And so I toasted that message, and I wish more people took that. Celebrate the good times.
Celebrate the good.
And the bad. And the
And
bad.
the bad.
Absolutely, let's
Especially
celebrate
the
the good times.
Why
so,
not?
I mean, thank you
The
again.
bad are learning experiences, right?
Fail forward.
Yeah. It's I'll drink. I'll give you this. It's very interesting that there were two U.S. presidents that were very much into rum, FDR and John F. Kennedy. Probably the two that went through the worst times, right, with the Great Depression and with the Cuban Missile Crisis. So yes, sometimes you have to celebrate the bad with a good old daiquiri.
How else can you identify the good unless you have the bad?
You can't.
So I'm gonna have to take it now. A
There
toast
is
with my
no
daiquiri
light
after
without
I took a
dark.
toast. Which one?
Let's go.
Which
I'm
one?
kidding. I would never.
Toast again. Thank you for coming in
Thank
for
you
this.
very much. Cheers, guys.